CyberHub bunker and studio. You're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Well, good morning, gang, and welcome to our final episode of this week, Thursday, August 4th, 2022. I hope you're having a good, successful, calm week. It's been kind of it's been a very interesting week from a practitioner perspective, because we're seeing things that kind of we talk about as practitioners within ourselves really start to happen. So a lot on the show today. We'll be talking about the privacy bill. We'll be talking about the new Cyberspace Ambassador, and as well as a whole lot of quantum and MFA. The update from yesterday's story around the attack on organizations bypassing MFA. So on today's show, so don't go anywhere. Let's grab our morning cup of coffee to get this show kicked off. My double espresso, whatever you're drinking, I hope you enjoy it. I hope it nourishes you and powers you to get through this week and end it strong. Coffee cup, cheers. So VirusTotal data is actually showing how malware distribution is leveraging legitimate sites and apps. According to the data collected by VirusTotal, legitimate websites and applications are often leveraged for malware delivery. Legitimate applications are directly abused. For instance, the company found that 0.1% of legitimate hosts for popular apps have distributed malware. In addition, 10% of the top 1,000 Alexa domains have been observed delivering suspicious files. The app themselves are also abused, with 4,000 samples analyzed by VirusTotal executing or packing legitimate application installers. Moreover, 98% of the samples that included legitimate installers in their PE resources were malicious. The technique itself is not uncommon per se as some others, but there is some stuff to go around with this, how they're targeting applications like Skype, Adobe Acrobat, and VLC being the most targeted, but now they're also targeting WhatsApp, Instagram, and Amazon in addition. So something to kind of keep in mind and also kind of incorporate in your awareness training. Stuff like if you use Skype, or people that do, and so forth. Good little thing right there. Hackers. Why did I say that? Because I read it. Criminals are exploiting the Confluence bug to deploy the LJL backdoor for espionage. A threat actor is said to have a highly likely exploited security flaw in the outdated Confluence server to deploy a never-before-seen backdoor against an unnamed organization in the research and technical services sector. The attack, which transpired over a 7-day period during the end of May, has been attributed to the threat actor to a threat activity cluster tracked by Deepwatch STAC040. The evidence indicates that the threat actor executed malicious commands with apparent process of tomcat9.exe in the Confluence directory. After the initial compromise, the threat actor ran various commands to enumerate the local system network and Active Directory environment. The vulnerability suspected to have been exploited is CVE 2022-26134, an object graph navigation language injection flaw that paves the way for arbitrary code execution on Confluence server or data center instances. Following reports of active exploitation in real-world attacks, the issue was addressed by the company on June 4th. Given the absence of forensic artifacts, they've theorized the breach could have alternatively entailed the exploitation of Spring4 shell vulnerability to gain initial access to the Confluence web application. TAC040 is not very known, and likely espionage related. So Confluence, get it patched. Microsoft accounts that are being targeted with the new MFA-bypassing phishing kits. Again, we talked about this story yesterday. Now they believe the campaign goal is actually to conduct business email compromise attacks, diverting payments to bank accounts under their control using false documents. The campaign itself, which we highlighted, again, go watch yesterday's episode or listen to it on your favorite podcast listening platform. Go to cyberhubpodcast.com. You can see it there as well. They're essentially using similar kind of domains, as you can tell right here in front of you, attack registered domain and the legit federal credit union like Cross Valley or Triborough or City Federal or you name it. A lot of these they come with a domain that also says your email access is expired. They really create a fake phishing page. And then when they do that, they make you enter your multi-factor code, and that's how they get access through it as well. So again, now that we're seeing this, we understand the end goal is business email compromise. Something worth of note as you're threat modeling this, and looking to put in some mitigating controls around this specific attack vector. A single core CPU cracked post-quantum encryption candidate algorithms in just an hour. A late-stage candidate encryption algorithm that was meant to withstand decryption by powerful quantum computers was cracked using a computer running Intel's on CPU in an hour's time. The algorithm in question is Cyc, short for super singular isogamy key encapsulation, which made it to the fourth round of the post-quantum cryptography standardization process by NIST. It ran a single core. The appended Magma code breaks the Microsoft Cyc challenge IKEP 182 and 217 in 4 minutes and 6 minutes, respectively, showing you just a challenge around post-quantum encryption, and what that really means until someone's actually, I think post-quantum encryption is kind of like military grade that we see in marketing. Whenever I see something that says post-quantum, and then you ask them, well, in theory, it should work. Well, theory has just shown that it fails miserably. A new Cyberspace Ambassador nominee lays out a very ambitious agenda in the State Department. Nathaniel Fick, a former U.S. A U.S. Marine, you're never a former Marine, is talking about cyberspace being the next frontier of American diplomacy. This office existed actually under Secretary of State Mike Pompeo in the former administration. Then it kind of went away, and now they're really kind of stepping up and making this a ambassador at large for cyberspace and digital policy, kind of looking to strengthen diplomacy there. This is actually a good way by the State Department, irregardless, to start to counter kind of China influence and supply chain. You do need that diplomacy there in place. Senator Portman of Ohio also questioned, the so many different people that are running security, like CISO, like the White House National Security Director, and other significant stakeholders, as to, are we just creating a whole bunch of bureaucrats around cybersecurity where, there's conflicting borders, there's no clear lines drawn into sand between them, and could that cause an issue? A legitimate concern, by the way, by Senator Portman, and one that I think these offices are going to have to navigate over the next several years, and going into the future, to make sure that doesn't happen. That'll be their responsibility. Finally, corporate lobbying could imperil a sweeping data privacy bill. So the American Data Privacy and Protection Act, which by all means is one of the most lobbies bill in Congress, is drawing attention from more than 180 clients from companies like Amazon, Disney, Target, who all love our data so much that they're just like, wait a minute, we're not up for this whole privacy thing, giving people control over their information type of deal. That could kind of hurt our bottom lines, and we're really doing it to help them, the people. All of us are dumb enough, we're not smart enough, and so because of that, they need to get all of our data so that they can show us what they think we want to see, rather than allowing us to explore all things that are, needed. The gist of the bill is to have companies not collect any more than they need to provide the service with what they're engaging with. So collect only the data you need. That's it. And be able to give someone accounting of that data. There's also moves around not having this bill supersede state bills, because typically that's what happens. They're like, CCPA in California, there's state bill, then federal government goes, wait a minute, these are good ideas, states. We're going to federally enshrine it, and it's going to supersede your state bill, and then the state bill becomes moot, right? It's not relevant because there's a federal bill, and it supersedes that. By the way, we have that now with data breach notification. We don't have a federal bill. We got 50 states plus however many territories, and 60% of what you spend on a data breach is lawyers having to report it, because every state has a different way and a different rules around reporting an incident. So a lot around this bill. I would say please call your senator and your congressman, and let them know that you, as their constituent, support this bill getting through. It's time we gave the power of your data back to the people who own that data, and hold companies that refuse to part with that data or abuse that data to fines and create better business practices, including, this TikTok thing is significant as well. And these bills could help eliminate that too. So, make a phone call, write a letter, send an email to your elected official, letting him know, please support this data privacy bill, get it across the finish line here. A whole slew of companies, again, are lobbying to make changes to the bill, which would either make it ineffective or make it to a point where you've got to jump through a bunch of hoops. And it shouldn't be that way, not for consumers. As someone in security, I tell you, as someone who, that's not that. I think good companies that you want to do business with, collecting your data is one thing. Data brokers is a whole other one. And those data brokers really need to be heavily regulated. And I don't want to kill an industry, but I always question why they even exist. All right. That's it for our show today. Wrapping up for this week. We'll be back on Monday with a whole lot more of what's going on in the world of cybersecurity. Stay tuned. Please make sure to subscribe and share the show. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day, a great weekend, and stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.